So here we are again for a little session about another topic, which is again with you, Jan, and with me, Marcus, to go into it a bit more. And this time we want to talk about transitioning from pool swimmer to open water swimmer, and to what does it entail, or how shall I do it, or these kind of things. So that is, and you, I think. For me, I had to learn by doing, because I was never really an open water swimmer. For me, it was always pool. I was a distance swimmer in the pool. Simple reason, I was scared of that, I couldn't see the ground, so I wouldn't go.
Who isn't?
Who isn't? But funny enough, I never had this. My coach protected me in a way that he said, no, you don't have to, because they wanted me early on for the distance team and then like for to go on international competitions there, but I sort of shied away from it. So I actually transitioned only now for this project that I do Ironman triathlon, and afterwards the Ocean 7, and which will be a topic in my life as of next year. But so I can say now, but you were actually one of the people who you did both. I mean, you won European Championship, and then afterwards at the World Championship later on. This was in the open water, right? There was the bronze medal in as in the relay, I think, right?
Yes, and I won twice the silver in the 5K European time trial event. So yes, I did both.
From the beginning on, or did you start only pool and then transitioned over, or did you always do both?
No, I started my very first open water race took place after 2006. I did my first national team in the 4x200 freestyle relay, and I was rooming with Thomas Lutz, became great friends, and eventually also then moved to train with him in Würzburg. And he said, "Man, you have to do open water. It's so cool. You have to just try it." I said, whatever, crazy guy. And I think I did enough volume already, so I did a 10K in a normal speedo in Miami. That was the first one that I did. And then I did the German Nationals. Then when I was in Würzburg, I did some Euro Cups, World Cups. And then eventually, all the way to World Championships, European Championships. But what you said in the beginning, I mean, honestly, who is not afraid to swim in open water? I mean, that's the elephant in the room. But I mean, I can swim across a lake, obviously. But I hate it. If I'm by myself and I don't see what's underneath me, I mean, I never feel comfortable doing this. Ever.
Jesus,
I think everybody who says, "Oh, it's fine, it's fun for me," I call bullshit a little bit. I don't want to start a big discussion, but I mean, who likes to swim in an open water where you have no idea what's underneath you? I mean, I don't think anybody likes that, right?
Thank God you're saying that. This is a revelation. I just this week, I made a post about it, or like last week, I made a post about it where I said about that I was afraid of and I should have done now. And now for me, it has become either I can do it with a challenge, like for example, a race, then it's open water is fine. And if I go and train, I have the challenge inside, like some sort of I train for that. Obviously, the training I would never get in. For me, the open water swimming as such in training is always a field study. I'm not going to go full pace there, and I don't know if you can, but I don't believe that you can. I wouldn't go and train in the open water to get my practice in. That would always happen in a pool, even for triathlons and these kind of things. But I always had a challenge entailed with it, because then you focus on that. And then you forget about it. And even then, when I think about and start thinking at some point, you have the scenery, and then it goes worse off. But there is another event which happened last year when I did. I helped the guy to cross the 5 biggest lake the long way in Switzerland within a week, and I coached him for the swimming. And then I would usually jump in for an hour and swim with him. And so we were in Lucerne, and Lucerne is one of the deepest lakes we have, and it's like cliffs on both. It's like a fjord and goes down, like you don't see anything. And the interesting part there was that we went around the cliff, and there was a tree coming from below, and so I was swimming, focusing on what I do. Okay, this hour, he is here. I turned to the side, and at some point I saw this tree coming up, and I was, hold on a second. Whew! I got super scared. And if that...
I know. Everybody has this. And I think, I mean, honestly, if you swim even in a big lake, I start thinking also. And I can't really imagine a person who doesn't, especially in the ocean. I mean, if you swim in an open ocean, there are big fish down there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more likely to get hit by a lightning than to be attacked by a shark. But still, you don't know what's underneath you, and it's human. I think humans, if you don't know, it makes you nervous. Everything. I mean, if you drive through thick fog with a car, you also get nervous because you don't know what's coming in front of you.
True.
So true. It's normal, and I think that the part is to not think that it's anything wrong that you are a little bit nervous. It's just part of it, and then you're probably going to be fine. But I think everybody's nervous.
No, but that's actually a revelation which is now coming, and you confirming that when there's a lot more experience, especially in open water swimming as such in races, and yeah. So for me, I always thought it was something like. But it's interesting, really interesting.
Maybe it's just us, Marcus. Maybe it's just us too. We're a little bit crazy in the head. We're the only scared guys. Who knows? But I would say it's probably absolutely normal that if you don't see the bottom, that you're going to be at least get a little bit of thinking. And I had the same thing with you. Way back in the day when I was still an active swimmer. I was in a summer vacation with my now wife. And I thought, let's do a little ocean swim. And I was swimming. And of course, I don't see anything underneath me. And I was like, it's going to be fun. Take one breath. Boom! A jellyfish sprout this big right in front of my face. And I was out of this water ASAP. I was like, screw this. I'm going to train in the pool as a race. I don't think about it, but the same exact thing that you had with the tree, same exact thing.
Jesus! I'm actually. That's actually good part about this call for me. And I think going back to the topic and the professional side of it, and Ironman races and all these kind of things, I guess. I mean, if swimmers already think like that, or like you as an established one, and I mean, if you already think like that, there will be a lot more people thinking like that, or even don't take the chance because of this, because I always said then, if I could do the 5Ks in the pool, because there was one race in Switzerland, there is it, that you can do the 5Ks and even qualify for things in a pool. So you swim the full 5Ks in it, and you can even have a Swiss record and whatsoever. You could do it, and that was it. And I always hoped that maybe at some point they do it also, I don't know, world champion. So then I would have always trained for it. But there can be a lot of swimmers. Or do you talk to your swimmers about that, or not really? Is that
not really? I mean, honestly, in the race, not once was I really nervous about it. In a time trial, even then in the race, I don't think about this stuff. And like I said, on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm scared maybe a 3 or a 4. So it's not always there. Yeah. I mean, it spikes up to close to 10 pretty quickly when a jellyfish is right in front of your face. Okay. Maybe it's just us. Yeah. I don't think so. I think it's part of the game, and that's why I think it's very hard to train these things. It's very hard to prepare. I think the only way to prepare for open water actually is racing. Yeah. And in order to race well and to prepare for cold, warm, wavy, what have you, body contact is always a very big topic amongst triathletes. The best thing you can do is just do your work in the pool. Very well prepared, and then you have the clarity of mind and the peace of mind that no matter what happens, that at least conditionally you're good prepared. Yeah. So, but you would. It's very hard to prepare for a race when the waves are 40, 50, 60, or even centimeters or even a meter high. There's no way to prepare for that. Yeah. The only way I think to prepare for it is to do the work in the pool, and then when you get into that situation, it's very hard, but you need to remember to stay composed and remember it's as hard for the other people. Yeah. And then if you prepared better, it's going to be even harder for them than it is for you, because if you're prepared well, yes, it sucks, but then it's really just about staying composed, being strong in the mind, and have a strong body. That's the only thing you can really do. Yeah, okay. That I agree. Thinking about the others one, everyone is in the same situation. I would agree. I think so too. But as you say, you also agree that anything which you train, you need to get in the pool first, and then you go out there.
And I mean, you with your swimmers, you're not gonna have, or maybe have out of, let's say, a week, or you have like pros there, and or Kingley or something, someone like this, they would do most of their training in the pool and then go and have every now and then, as I say, field study. Every now and then go into the open water and just train there. I mean, I don't see how you can potentially have a proper training in the open water or get it in. It's no.
I mean, there's one thing I think in our time in Würzburg, I would say for 3-4 year window, we probably had the strongest open water team in the world, I would say, because we also had Peter Stoichev, who was a 5K world champion. We had Svan Overson, who was a 5K world champion. He trained in our group. Thomas Lutz, obviously, probably still in the very, very close circle of being one of the greatest ever to do in open water. Has 12 world titles, 2 Olympic medals, and all that. There's a long list, a long list in Würzburg. And we never, ever went training in open water, not once. Not once. I mean, the only training we had is almost like you said, like a field trip, but to take it a step further, our training open water was a Euro Cup, a competition, or a Bavarian open water cup. That was our training. Or when you're at the competition, like an easy swim, 1-2K, just to see the conditions, is the water murky, is it clear, is it warm, is it cold? But we never once in my 5 years there went and trained in open water. Ever.
Because it actually, and I was surprised that there were even people asking about this or asking me about whether I don't go in the open water and how I do it. For me, it was more, I did now more open water because I had to get used to that, some sort of fear that it's there and that I'm fine in the water. For me, it was more the getting used to it as a part of the journey. But I guess if I would have done it back in the days and it would have been good, I would have never really thought about it. I would have gone to the thing. The other thing which I had a problem at the beginning with, while I was swimming professionally before, I would do in the off season, I would go and do triathlons and there I had to go into the lake as well. But there was lakes, it was in Switzerland. It's not really that dangerous, right? The most dangerous thing is a boat or myself, But or that tree which comes from the bottom. But there I always have problems with orientation. And
swimming straight, basically impossible. I mean, if you close your eyes, I would challenge anyone in the world to swim a straight line. It's next to impossible.
Yeah.
But to add, just to not give false information, I think Sebastian Kienle, he liked to swim in the lake, and I usually swam with him back in the day. I was not afraid to be able to train with him together. And I think if you've never done it, and you prepare for your first triathlon of any kind, I think you're making a massive mistake. If you never put your wetsuit on and have never been in the open water before, I think it's almost a recipe for disaster. I mean, you need to at least have been in that situation a few times. I think if we talk about what we did, like let's say even before the first open waters ever in my life in Miami, you have to keep in mind I was swimming for 20 years.
Yeah, true.
And I was putting in 70, 80, 90, 100K a week. So number one, I was 100% sure I can handle distance. And number two, even if a hurricane broke loose, I'm still going to be fine in the water. Unless it's going to be a tsunami or something, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
But if you're starting out, I would recommend to do 2 or 3 long swims in the open water. I always say swim alongside the shore. Don't go paddle straight into the lake, because if something happens, you want to be close to being able to get out. But do a long swim in your wetsuit, so you get used to the wetsuit, and in open water, just to know that it's going to be okay.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I mean, but these are basic things which you and I would look at as that's of course. But which a lot of people neglect, I think, which they forget about it, or they have a wrong thinking about, or the wrong opinion about swimming. Swimming is always go out and then come back. No. You need to have some sort of the sighting as well. And what also happens when you go alongside the shore, you also train the sighting a bit because you want to be. You can train already to be always a similar distance to the shore as you would be. Not that you would go go too far out, or that you go too close to the shore so you can't swim anymore because then it gets too shallow or something like that. I guess that is it. But yeah.
It's just important for safety. I mean, open water is open water. Anything can happen. If you get a cramp and you're in the middle of the Zurich Lake and you're 800 meters out and the sun is shining and nobody sees you waving and you don't have a rescue tube or anything with you, you are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And that's the situation you want to be in. So I always say stay on shore. If you have something like a rescue tube with you that blows up and you can float on it, by all means go if you want to go. But also you have the problem, boats, jet skis, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's dangerous. So I would make sure that I know where I'm swimming and leave it at that.
No. I mean, it's a valid point. It's an important point. I mean, as I said, technique and training is one thing to get you stable and to have this core muscles, this core ready and be actually. So then we could put out saying you need to be sure that you can go the distance, or you can go the distance which you want to do at the end, or even what you're going to do when you go to do open water. You need to be sure that you'll be able to do it in a pool already. And if you need to be able to see, okay, these are my limits. And this needs to happen before you go to the open water. Once in the open water, obviously there are other factors in, waves and streams and whatsoever. But then you know exactly, then you change, because you would see how the conditions are when you get to the water, and say, okay, if my goal was 1500 meters, then let's just do 1000 meters and I'm good, in the end. That would be. But as I said, for me, I think I wouldn't do it every week. If I do train for an Ironman, I wouldn't do it every week, but maybe every second week or every third week, just to get get it in, just to get the knowledge in of what can happen, how my technique changes a bit. That I would agree to, and the rest you get in the pool. Yeah, I know the rest of the training you get in on the pool. You grind, you do your technical training and everything. I think that could be it. I think here we have a end statement. I think on that one, everyone is scared in open water because of not seeing the ground, and open water swimming doesn't start in the open water, it starts in the pool.
Yes, I agree. And I think open water swimming is for those who want to swim open water. And that's an important thing. Just going back to in the first one I mentioned Leonie Beck, she was also from Würzburg, by the way, coming out of that group, same as Lea Boy, so a lot of very, very good open water swimmers. And for the longest part, she didn't want to have anything to do with open water swimming. Like she was probably ready a long time ago, but just didn't want to do it. And I mean, you need to be open for it. And then once you're open for it, you're open for everything that comes with it. And I never really was. I was more of a pool swimmer and more of a time trial. I never really liked it all that much to swim in a group. But you need to be open for these kind of things. You need to embrace the fact that there are going to be people pumping into you. It's not going to be always flat water. There are going to be waves. Sometimes it may be cold. So that's part of the game. Be able to adapt. Those who adapt the best and those who are strongest in the mind will win, and you need to be ready for it. And if you're ready for it, I think it's a great sport because it's a lot more diverse than just pool swimming. And for triathlons, you have to do it anyways. But that's something that's important. Just be open-minded. If you enjoy it, it can be a great thing. And if not, the pool swimming is also good.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. I mean, even for amateurs, you have amateur races in open water, and you have amateur races in the pool. I mean, and you have triathlon, you have pros and amateurs. So it gives you a lot of, like, a big variety. You need to find what is good for me. For me, the Ironman was just that way to get back into training somehow. And I didn't want to just go and train and finish an Ironman in my life. It was more about getting to a challenge that I qualified for something and go further, because you're so used to having these goals back in the days. And the second thing is now, as I've done some triathlon or trained for it, and I'm gonna do this year again an Ironman in Hamburg, and then afterwards try to qualify there for the amateur, like in Nice now. It's not gonna be in Kona. And as of 24, I will tackle another beast, and that's called Ocean 7. So I'm really going into open water swimming afterwards. and even going to that. I guess that is not for the like channel swimming is not for the is a different level again. I don't think you can be an amateur swimmer and never swum before and do that. You have to get there. You need to have a certain amount of Ks in. I don't know anyone who's not been a swimmer in the past or has a certain amount of years of training in and goes and does channel swimming. But there, for me again, it's a challenge, right? I want to do it. I want to finish it, and it's not about time. It's about because you can't time it. It's simply impossible. But for me, yeah. But I will always train in a pool for it. I will not. I will feel. I will have more field studies, let's say, or field trips. Let's put it that way. Yeah. But I will see. I mean, it will start in 24. So for now, this year, it's still Ironman. But then I will be more swimming and connected with the content I create more about this, like long distance swimming in the end, for me.
Yeah, follow us a little bit. I'm currently preparing Andreas Waschburger who wants to break the world record in the English Channel this summer.
Oh wow, that's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's his final thing. He's getting a little bit older now. He's in his mid-30s. That's the last thing he really wants to try, and we're working pretty hard. I mean, we're building up to all the way in June. He's going to do the 30K swim in the pool.
Oh, good. I mean, listen. I mean, it is for me. For me, it's I try to build it up like I know it from back in the days, and what I've seen now with the guy I trained for these 5 lake channels crossings. So he did Lake Zurich, Lake Lucerne, all the long way, you know, and we could beat some record stuff. He did. His name was Noam Jarro, and he did the Lake Geneva, the 75 kilometers in 19 hours, and yeah, that's a different beast. So he did it not last year, the year before. He did that. And then we got together and I could coach him to do the rest of it. And there was each lake was between 35 and 45 Ks, similar to my challenge, but mine will be in the open water, right? And so, but yeah. So I need to see follow you guys to see that journey.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting.
I'm excited. I think he has shots. He has the right mind for it, but it's very tricky. I mean, it's very tricky, because especially the biggest challenge, I think, is, I mean, obviously you need to be lucky with the conditions.
Of course, yeah.
But what people underestimate is you're swimming for close to 7 hours in water that's only 70 degrees Celsius, and you don't get to use a wetsuit.
Yeah.
So you cannot show up with 6% body fat.
No, it's not possible.
You need to be a little bit heavy and be in good shape at the same time. So it's a tricky preparation, but I think we will do okay, I think. And yeah, it's going to be in the I think 21st to 26th of August is our week where we're going to travel.
Maybe I need to go to, what do you do to over Calais, or what are you going to do?
I think so, yeah. I honestly, I don't know. They have a boat rented, but I think you swim from France to England, I think, right?
You can do both. There is this lady, I mean, through my preparation now, funny enough, through a friend of mine, which has, like, she comes from Australia, but she lives her life in the UK, and my wife, she's a good friend of my wife, and she is in a group of like open water swimmers. They usually swim in Serpentine, and in there are that one girl who did the channel 3 times holds the record, and there is these people. And funny enough, I started talking to them. The one thing which they all said, and they usually start from Dover, go to Calais, and then back and this way. But you can also do the other way. But usually what they usually say, it depends on which group you take or which club you take to do it with, and then they do it either this way or the other way around. But one thing all of them said to me is, you need to be humble. You will learn a lot about yourself in this time when you're out there, because you're just yourself. As you said, you have to fight with like cold, hypothermia potentially. You have to keep an eye on nutrition. You need to be mindful of waves. You can't just like, oh, now I'm going to do a little sprint and go back and these kind of things. You need to be aware of your own body, or your own, who you are in that pond, or like the big lake, you know, in the end, or the bigger channel. I think that is the thing what I heard out of it. But hey, listen, tell me when I'm gonna be there on the shore, gonna wave at you guys. That would be interesting.
Yeah,
actually.
sure. I mean, the second to last week of August.
Second to last week of August. Yeah. That would be interesting. Very interesting. Well, as I said, it's part of the challenge as well, and I will do it. I will start next. I'm not sure which channel I start with, but it's still in the planning. I'm not sure where. It can also be that I want to do the New Zealand one first, which now a lot of people just recently did with what's her name, Natalie Poole, I think. And Barbara Hernandez from Chile, who also did that part, and you can do it very early on in the season because of the situation there. But as I said, conditions is a key as well. So yeah, we had a good talk again about this topic. I think we can go more in depth on left, right, and center. You can do a bit more on each thing. But as I said, for this topic, I think we covered some topics, and I think it was a good chat. Thank you very much for this. And
yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.